that would be helpful, I guess, to look at that.
Well, but we're not allowed to adopt an unbalanced budget, so we have to resolve those.
Right.
So the fund balance in some respects is a little out of the context of this schedule showing the gaps that we have.
Sure.
address.
Sorry.
All right. Awesome.
And is this gap that you're addressing, is that through the general reserve fund?
That'll be through the budgeting process that we look at services and needs of the village and available resources, different funding methods. Page 8 is some narratives that talk about specifically the capital projects. You know, we have a small capital, which is funded through property tax and other revenues, large capital, which is a function of the focus of much of the material in this document, which is debt finance. So we took it, again, another layer down inside the capital fund on page 9, just to show how the trends progress over time. And in this case, you know, again, you need to adopt a balanced budget in one shape or form within that fund, so they net out to zero at the bottom of the page. But again, we're matching bond proceeds with the projects that we're borrowing for, and presuming that staff will fit within the parameters of small capital for the annual operating requests, notwithstanding debt finance projects.
I'm holding questions.
Okay, well, that's going to take us to our debt schedule. The only thing after the debt schedule then is, again, the utility analysis that we did. I don't necessarily feel I need to go through that. I'm happy to answer questions on it.
Do you have a copy of the small capital projects? You say you have a list for replacement. I just like to know what goes into that fund, because we're decreasing by $1 million, I think it is, or 600,000 between 17 and 18. Although we're pushing things like Emerald Ash into that, I think.
Well, keep in mind, every other year is special assessments for sidewalks. In 17, we had the bike share program, a one-time $350,000 project. So I think we're to isolate pretty much on the property tax support for small capital. You see that's fairly stable over time, and it's just really the impact of some of those special projects that were approved in 17 that makes it look a little bit off kilter. But I think I know what you're looking at.
Yeah, you're right. But do you have that list? They provide people a budget, just so we are aware of what goes into that fund, or that I'm aware of what goes into that fund?
Well, we've got our master asset that is scheduled replacement, but that's only one component of that.
It says you have a scheduled equipment and small capital assets over 5,000.
Yeah.
Includes estimate replacement dates for all assets.
Yeah, that comes out with the budget document.
It does, right?
Yeah. So,
Now we're on page 10.
now we get to page 10, and want to get into page 11 as well. Now all of these are followed up by a little more in-depth narrative on the subsequent pages. Again, I know that this came out on Friday, so there hasn't been a tremendous amount of time to look at that. Our hope would be that the board is generally familiar with these initiatives without necessarily needing to reflect on the narratives, but so this is the project schedule that this plan has been modeled.
And these are the numbers that were given to Ellers.
These are the numbers that were given to Alex.
Are we going to go through each one, see if anyone has questions, or anyone?
I might just make the recommendation that, you know, you have the narratives to give you a general summary. Just maybe a precedent if you want to open it up for any of the trustees to ask questions, because we have Leanne and the chief here too, so if you have any questions about their projects, we can address those in more detail.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess what I'd like to find out is there any big changes on what's in here than what was discussed in earlier meetings for these items too?
Sure.
So address it, Mark.
Well,
And I guess to do that, you kind of got to go down the list here.
the top three items, sort of refining some numbers through some additional engineering. So staff is recommending focusing on arterial roads in 2018 and deferring the currently engineered 2018 road program to 2020, so that they can accomplish those arterial road needs with Wilson Drive, some Lake Drive work, the water meter project down on page 11, and then Chief Nimmer will pick up at some point here with the continuation of the implementation of the police facility build out. The other two changes that will dominate, and this came up in discussion, is the Oakland Avenue North reconstruction and Oakland Avenue South reconstruction. $3 million in 2023 for Oakland North, $2.2 million for 2027 Oakland Avenue South that were not in the original plan, but that we talked about a few weeks back.
For Lake Drive reconstruction, I mean, we're waiting on that project because the state is contributing a part of the cost for that.
In 2023.
For the reconstruction,
Yes, how much is the state contributing?
80%, yeah?
For roadway, it's generally 80/20. Enhancements are funded differently. Enhancements would include any sort of decorative elements or decorative street lighting, but
So the total is 7.5
Where
million.
where do we show the, is this just our share?
That's the
Or-
village share.
So how much?
So-
So it's a
it's gonna be a-
$16 million project, of which, and I'm just really rounding, but the village's share is 3.5.
Plus the water, I mean, our share is really 7.5 for the water main and the sewer.
Lake Drive is costing $15 million.
Is it because it's being done in concrete?
it has not been engineered yet.
I mean, what is, oh, so it could be more of that. Only reason
I would say it's unlikely it would be a concrete roadway, but I mean, that will be an option that we will look at.
And like for the placeholder for Oakland too, is that concrete?
Yes, that's kind
That's
of,
concrete.
Mhm.
And but the Wilson 2.5 is not.
that's asphalt, correct.
I'm confused with why Lake is costing $15 million, but Oakland is $5.2 million. I mean, why would Lake cost 3 times, I mean, it's roughly the same length as Oakland. It just seems way higher than any of the other projects we're talking about doing. $15 million.
It's huge. Is it the water main?
No. Actually, I mean, I think I would review that with Mark, but Mark, my understanding was that that 3.5 number was the full number for pavement reconstruction,
That's,
but pavement only. There's no enhancements in that number.
So 80% would be paid by the state?
80% of the drive lanes, if we, there's multiple variations, but just as an example, if we were to rebuild it at its current width, but utilize that outside lane as a bike lane and or parking, then those lanes would be funded 100% by the village under current funding requirements.
But does a 3.5 million, just placeholder, does that include amenities and stuff?
No, that's just paid, that's a paid only number.
Is there a way to get it better? Just yes? I mean, because if it's 3.5 and 80% of it is going to be by the state, and we have to add on a few more, is that the end result as well?
I would say that's, at this point, very much in the ballpark.
And for Oakland, do we have any water, or there's nothing in the plan, is there any other factor that's going into Oakland Avenue reconstruction? I know it's being done separate timing.
There are actually 3 alternatives that we are reviewing for addressing the pavement issues on Oakland Avenue. They range from what I would call a relatively short-term fix to full reconstruction. And then there's kind of a middle of the road option as well. The numbers that you have here are we're going to call it the worst case scenario. Of the 3 options, that is the most costly of the 3.
Is there any water main? So the most costly would be the one that you would say, yes, we're going to redo the water main.
No, again, that is listed separately. So the numbers that you're seeing under general fund,
I know, I don't see them though listed in here at all, that's why I'm asking you. If we know that like late at that time we might do a water main, I would like it in here, just a placeholder, because in the same year, the water main for Oakland, yeah.
we can certainly look at that again. The Oakland was a relatively last minute addition to the plan. And certainly we will review.
So if there's any water or sewer that's associated with that road that you think by 20, whatever year we're doing it, might need to be replaced, I would, since we went through all the effort to put the roadway in here, it makes sense to also put those placeholders simultaneously. And then the other question was with Wilson Drive. Is there any, because we can't use revenue bonds because of the year that we're doing it, unlike Lake Drive where we pushed it past, the point where we can start using revenue bonds for the water main, is there anything in Wilson for sewer and utility above that 2.5 road construction? Because there's no other placeholder in here for that as well.
There is what I would call incidental water work. There are a number of irrigation pits on the west side that are not functional and we would propose to abandon because of their location. There is what I would call incidental storm sewer work, which is the rebuilding of catch basins and the leads to those. But there is no, in none of our infrastructure plans are there mainline sewer improvements, and the relative age of the water main in Wilson, it's probably one of the newer mains as originally constructed in the village. And knock on wood, we have had very few maintenance issues on that stretch of main. So at this point, we would not propose any wholesale water replacement nor sewer replacement there.
So there shouldn't be any additional money over that 2. Everything would be included in our placeholder, the road construction.
Well, that is a preliminary estimate
Yeah.
determined on future board actions and design guidelines and criteria too. That number's has a fair amount of flex in it yet, right?
But we're pretty close. I mean, we're almost at 60% design. So I'm just asking because if there needs to be additional, like we did for Lake, if there needs to be a placeholder for utilities, I'd like to see that as well. That's the only thing I'm asking. And then,
I don't believe that.
okay. And then the last question on those roadways is the 2.5, I'm assuming this means it's asphalt. There's more cars on Wilson than Oakland and bus traffic as well. So I don't know that we ever discussed that as a group. If we changed it to concrete, would that significantly increase that number? And why would we not pave it in concrete and we would for Oakland, since they're both bus routes?
Oakland receives a heavier volume of truck traffic than Wilson.
So it's just
And typically in your core business districts, that's where you would look to constructing concrete for a couple reasons, not the least of which is it has a much longer lifespan, and we tend to look at, the fewest disruptions to the business district.
No, that totally makes sense. I just was talking about for buses, because we have to build buses need to have concrete pads, and since it's a difference if they're driving on the road or pulling over onto a pad, and because we have a lot of buses that go down there, it's a bus route. And usually you can so, and I looked at the numbers, it was like 9,000 cars on Oakland and 14,000 on Wilson.
They are both bus routes. The ridership is vastly different.
Yeah.
And that will translate into vastly different stops and starts, and that's typically what has adverse impacts on your pavement, is the buses coming to a stop. We have, I believe, the current cross-section of the roadway includes concrete bus pads. So they will be stopping on concrete, but the through traffic lane as currently proposed will be asphalt.
One thing that hit